Hi friends, it's Kathy and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's in the Cards Divination. Today I thought we would do a pick-a-pile reading, which could help answer the question, what your pets and spirit want you to know. So for those of you who are not familiar with a pick-a-pile reading, you would look at each pile separately of cards and which one is speaking to you, which one is calling to you. And then you can pause the video, look at it, feel the energy, which one is calling your name. And that is where the message from your pet will be. It's whichever pet you happen to be thinking of, whether you had a fish, a turtle, a dog or cat, or even a huge pet. Maybe you had a horse or a cow. These are the messages contained in here from your beloved pet. This is a general reading. If it doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. If this pile didn't work, you could go to the next one and see if that sounds like your pet's situation and it resonates with you. Or you could go to the other one. If none of them resonate, that's okay. There'll be another reading in the future. So I would just ask first, before we go into this, if you would be so kind, if you would like to, you can click on the subscribe button, the bell to get further notifications, and the like button. That would be awesome. Okay, so as I mentioned, the first pile that we will be looking at for messages from your pet and spirit is the lapis lazuli crystal. All right, there we go. Second pile contains the amethyst crystal. Third pile is the pyrite or fool's gold crystal. Okay, I know very much how hard it is to lose a beloved pet. It is one of the most painful things to go through in life, and we often carry much guilt associated with it because of the fact that they could not speak or tell you their wishes. A lot of times they've had to be put to sleep, euthanized, or maybe they died in an accident or a sickness of some kind. Either way, it is very, very painful. And I know myself, to get a message from your beloved pet would be the most wonderful thing to receive. So, my dear friends, let's pause the video, look at the three piles. Which one is it that appears to be speaking to you right now? Once you've decided, go into the description box down below. There'll be a timestamp, which will take you right to that pile. All right, now let's get started and see what your pet's message is for you today. For pile number one, if you chose a lapis lazuli gemstone, then this is your reading and your message from your beloved pet. All right, here I've pre-dealt the cards. So let's start with tarot. Okay, first card is the Nine of Cups. This next card is the World Reverse. And let's see. The third card is the Sun. Oh, beautiful. I mean, look at that picture, eh? Okay, let's see. We're going to start with this. I'm already getting messages. Okay. There was very likely, you may have had this animal. It doesn't necessarily have to be a dog, but it's shown as a dog in the sun since they were a puppy. You had them right from day one. Okay. If it was a cat, you had it from a kitten. If it was a bird, it was a baby bird. So all these, it's showing me, see the baby, that was you. That's telling me that you've had this animal for a long time. It was someone you loved very dearly. And also, I'm sensing lived a very long and very good life. Okay. Now, obviously, this just rocked your world when they died. I mean, that's a no-brainer, right? We all know that any death of an animal is a huge, huge thing. We love them so dearly, and it literally put your world upside down. Okay. But they're telling you how much, how happy they were, what a great life they had. Not one moment. I've got a siren going in the background. All right, I apologize for that. All right, so then what it looks like when you were together, I'm kind of getting that for some of you, you might even have spent a lot of time putting together, or even maybe even making from scratch, things that they could use in their life together. Like you enjoyed um, those hands-on situations. Like what I'm trying to say is, I'm using this as an example. It was very important to you to gather up all the things you would need to take care of this pet. They recognize that. They want you to know how happy they were, that it was important to you to make sure they were well cared for. They had all the good things in life. They had their food taken care of. I mean, most pets that you would say that. This is going the extra mile. It's like even you made sure it was taken to the vet, it was cared for. If it was sick, you did everything you could. This card is telling me the Nine of Cups, you fulfilled everything they hoped for in life on earth. There couldn't have been anything else you could have done. Okay. For some of you, especially animals that are larger, like say a dog, a cat, there's a chance that near the end of their life, they weren't able to really go anywhere, that perhaps they were so old, they had arthritis, or maybe they just couldn't even walk anymore. It was too painful in whatever case. So this is now telling you they're free of that. They're free of that pain. They're free of everything. They are joyful and they're happy where they are. Okay. You don't have to worry about them, but they're so grateful. Gave them everything they could have ever possibly hoped for and wished for. So let's see what the next three tarot cards say. All right, we have the Chariot card reversed. It's a little difficult to see. I'm in the process of getting new lighting, so this really improve the videos. I apologize now. All right, let me just get this up a little so you can see that. There is, yes, the Chariot's reversed. And then we have the Eight of Cups reversed. All right, yeah, this is starting to tie in. And the Nine of Pentacles. Right. So we can see all the different animals in these cards just as an intuitive. I mean, we have dogs, puppies, birds, and horses. Wow, eh? That's awesome. So again, this ties into the world. These two cards again telling me that there was a period where they just could not do anything. It was a period of time where they were ill, not able. Now, it also tells me is what you did, you set them free by putting them down, euthanizing. This set their soul free. You see the bird up here? Just free to take off. And look at the smile on her face. It's like, don't don't be sad. I'm happy. You gave me my freedom back. I was too ill, or maybe there was too much pain, too many injury. This animal is so happy. Look at the Eight of Cups here. Um, there's this feeling you're carrying. This is what your pet is saying to you. You're carrying this feeling of, I had no choice. It was an intolerable situation. I had to do something. And that carries guilt. We know that, right? The reversed Eight of Cups is often telling us that it was like being stuck in a bad situation, okay? So you didn't have any choice. You had to make that decision. And most likely it would be around the euthanization of this wonderful animal you loved so dearly. Please remember the Nine of Pentacles. This is what they're telling you. This is like, I am happy, I'm content, I am in spirit. we'll see each other again. And see, she's not really letting him go, her go. It's like this creature is still with you. See, even though it looks like they're flying away, as I said, it looks like they're flying away, but they're actually not. They're still with you. So your beloved pet is just a thought away from you. And that's exactly what's going on in this picture here. They had such a good relationship with you. Oh my gosh, like look at the sun. I can't stop looking at this. Look at this little, they're having fun together. They're outside playing. Like you guys spent a lot of time together outside, whether it was running around the yard, out in the garden. Maybe some of you even took your pet to flower gardens, or maybe you had a flower garden. Like just like looking at this, anytime you did anything, your animal was with you. That was kind of what this is feeling for some of you. It's like, even when I'd be doing a hobby, any kind of situation, they were with me all the time. I mean, most animals do that. They hang around. Cats, not so much, but in this case, even the cats did. They would hang around you. They were always nearby. They wouldn't leave you alone. There's a direct bond there. There's a real bond with this particular animal that you have. I mean, all animals we have a bond with, but this one really tears at your heartstrings, okay? And you know how they say sometimes animals have one master, especially dogs, right? They, you were like, even if there were more people in your household, you were it. You were the one that had that connection with that beautiful creature. So again, this is just confirming that particular situation. And again, with the chariot reversed, it's all about you had to make those hard choices. You didn't for a while. You were kind of stymied, like you couldn't do it. It was too difficult. And then all of a sudden it was like, you know what? I can't keep holding on to this situation. It's killing me. It's hurting so much. It's hurting the animal. It's hurting me. I have to set them free. Okay. And I know that's the hardest thing we do. My goodness, right? And it's like this creature, though, doesn't want you to be sad because look how happy she is, right? That's how they want to see you. They want you to be happy and not be upset about it and enjoy just remembering the time you guys had together because it was so wonderful. Okay. So let's now look at our oracle cards and see what they want us to see. Stay connected. Wow. Love that. And then we have relationships. Yeah. Again, that confirms that significant bond that the two of you would have had. You were meant to be together. You know how sometimes, and this is what I'm getting, you know how sometimes we say, oh, animals, it's like they found me, right? Yeah. Or they chose me. I didn't choose them. You know, especially if you go to a rescue center. And I know I had this done personally for my own experience. Let me straighten this out for you. But okay. That it's like that relationship was supposed to happen, okay, between the two of you. It was very much predestined, I would say. And the two of you were so in sync. And that's what it reminds me of when I see this Nine of Cups. It's like this creature was with you all the time, like constantly, almost like a mirror of yourself. And that's what it talks about in this card. And look, see, stay connected. That also mirrors this. This tells me that even though you had to free the animal from the human bonds, or I should say earthly bonds, it's still connected to you. This creature never will leave you. Okay. Do you see how the hand is still holding the hand? There is no disconnect from you, too. And that you can stay connected to each other or receive those messages. In fact, you probably already have. A lot of you probably have received those moments where you can almost hear their chains jingling or their paws on the floor, or maybe you saw one of their toys move, or you know, in some cases you felt them or smelled them. That happens quite a bit. That's what this card is telling you. Pay attention to those. I am still connected to you. That's what your pet is telling you. Do not ever think I'm gone. I'm always going to be with you. And they'll be there when you cross over. Okay. They're going to be the ones that are going to come right to you. Even the goldfish will be swimming in the pond when you cross over, or the turtles will be on the land coming to see you. Any animal, doesn't matter, even the snakes. The snakes will be with you, all the beautiful creatures. And look, the bird. Oh, I just love this card. And this relationship is not going away. Even though it looks like these birds are flying off away from you, and that's what happened, you can see. But look at this one's going this way, this one's going this way, and they're meeting in the middle. So there's no disconnect. This is definitely something that will stay with you for an eternity. I hope that gives you some joy. I know it does for me. And maybe it sets aside some fear. Some people don't believe animals have souls or spirits, but they do. All creatures of God have a soul and a spirit and an essence of God in them and the Creator. So you never have to worry that you're not going to see this beautiful animal again. And they do not harbor any ill will about what happened. You can tell by this. It's like, so glad you set me free. Thank you so much. Okay. So I will leave you with this message, and I hope it gave you, as I say, as much joy as it gives me. And thank you for letting me receive those messages for you. I hope something resonates here for you. Take care, and I'll see you the next time. Bye bye for now. Try pile number 2. If you chose the amethyst crystal, then this message is for you from your beloved pet. Now, normally I start with tarot cards, but I felt really, I was hearing I usually start with the oracle, which I know isn't usually what I do, but I'm going to start with the oracle cards, and hopefully you can see this, because I know it's quite dark. Oh, no, it's going to give you a glare. I'll have to pull it up for you. Okay. This one is the soul solitude, the window to the soul, as you can see. And this one is called Ancestral Wisdom. Okay. And this kind of is what's telling me is going on here. This is basically a feeling of that you just haven't been able to let go of this beloved animal. That maybe you've been so busy just trying to get on with life that you haven't spent any time reflecting and grieving properly, is how I would see it. And this is what's coming from your animal. It's like you need to take the time to heal. I know you've been suffering, but you need to spend the time in quiet reflection, not in grieving as in crying, but as in remembering those wonderful times you had together. And if you have to cry, you let yourself cry. You get it out, right? Because they don't want you suffering. That's what this is about. They don't want you. The ancestral wisdom is that it kind of tells me it's like, well, number one, on a basic level, your family members in spirit have your pet with them. They're taking care of it. If you're wondering, because some of us think, well, how, if my dog, cat, pet has a soul and it dies, there's nobody on the other side. Like maybe you feel there's nobody there to look after this creature once it crosses over. You'd be surprised. There are so many of our ancestors, and there's ancestors we don't even know. They go way back, but there is a link between us on Earth. There's a soul link. And if it's not your ancestors, there's special angels to look after the animals in spirit. But this particular card reminds us from your pet that the they're with the ancestors. They're having a great time over there. But this is kind of a theme around this reading, okay? So I'm going to move this to the side here, and I'm going to pull up your tarot cards from your beloved pet. We have the Lovers reversed, and we have the Eight of Pentacles, Yeah, that makes sense. And now the Two of Swords, but in the reverse position. Okay. I think what they're trying to say is, I think you felt, this is what it's not I think, this is what I'm sensing. You actually, well, number one, you spent a lot of time, even possibly training this animal. For some of you, it's like you put in a lot of effort trying to train them and make them a well-behaved pet in your household. That's on a very detailed, like that's more on a mundane level, basically. What this is telling me, as far as their message, and they're appreciative of that. That's because it's upright. It's like you taught them a lot of tricks, you taught them a lot of things, and they're really, it's wonderful. Okay. You didn't think that that was a big deal, but it is a big deal to them because they're presenting that message. It's like, you know what? We had a lot of fun together. Even if it's like some people, when they even try to train their little hamsters and all, like there's all kinds of things you can do with animals. They're very bright. Now, on a deeper level, because of the lovers reversed, you might be worried. You've been spending a lot of time, and this has to do with this soul solitude. Um, Even though maybe you haven't necessarily spent a lot of time grieving for some of you, you worry that they did not notice how bad things got. It's like it kind of came on pretty fast, okay? You did spend some time trying to ignore it. Perhaps it was an illness. They were getting old even, but I think it's more illness related. There's like this situation where you just you feel, not them, you feel you ignored it as if you had other things to do and you just kind of went about your life, but you didn't. And you feel like maybe they think you didn't love them. That's not true. They know you did. Okay. The lover's reverse, that's how you feel. It's like you feel like maybe they think you didn't love them enough, but that's not true. The Two of Swords, you spent a lot of time possibly trying to ignore the situation, trying not to think about the fact that maybe that this their time was coming, or that they were sick and you had to do something about it. Nobody wants to have to face that, but you did. You made the decision, and they just want you to know how grateful they are for that decision, okay? Even though you don't feel like it. So don't feel they didn't love you. They loved you so much. Like I say, this is how you feel about it. They're conveying that message, and it's not even close to being true. And the other thing was, that I'm getting from this reading is there were times when you were together, you were outside, you were doing things, you, that when you weren't even paying attention, they watched everything you did. Okay. They were so engaged in everything you did, their little heads would watch if it was a dog or a cat or an outside animal. They knew where you were at all times. They knew. And even if you felt that you spent too much time maybe being preoccupied with other things in life, whether it was your job or your family, don't worry. They know how much you love them. Okay. So let's see what the other three tarot cards have to say. All right. We have the Strength card reversed. We have the Page of Swords upright, of course. And lastly, we have the Ace of Cups reversed. Oh, yeah. For those of you who did grieve, wow, it was pretty heavy. The Ace of Swords reversed shows an overabundance of sorrow, an overabundance of pain. Um, but it was at the beginning too. I mean, obviously, as time goes by, it will get easier. They're telling you, for those of you who did already, spend a lot of time grieving for them, you need to pay attention to why you're still carrying this pain. Usually it's because of guilt, fear. You need to let that go. That's what they're trying to tell you. Let this go. Let that water fall out. Move on. The Strength card reversed They're saying, I know how hard it was, what you had to do. And you think that you didn't. You are kicking yourself. You felt I wasn't strong enough to do this. But in the end, you did. You had to. Don't beat yourself up. That's what they're basically saying. Um, all you were doing by delaying it was trying to show them how much you love them. And yeah, there's always a bit of that selfishness too, when if we hold off, if having to euthanize, if that's the case. But don't worry about that because they were okay with that. Look, 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 look. Oh my God. They are actually, this is representing, look, it's a learning experience. It was a learning experience for you, that it's okay to let them go. You feel like you didn't do it soon enough. That's what I feel from this card. It's like, I should have done it sooner, but it's okay. Don't beat yourself about that. They're right with you. See how when you're not paying attention, they're right there beside you, soaring above you. If especially if it's a bird, the bird. There was some of you, the pet's telling me there were times. Oh my gosh, this is like it's a very small detail, but it's coming through. There were times you would make, and we do, because we love our animals, we made their favorite dishes, right? And I'm talking just for them. Maybe we don't always make the favorite dishes for the family, but we did it for the pet. Okay, that's what's coming through. And that's wonderful. They're recognizing that you did that and they're so appreciative, okay? And so getting back to this, um, don't, like I say, don't worry if you think you were trying to, like you thought they were upset with you because you waited too long to do something about the situation. They're not upset with you. They love you very much. And so they just want you to know that it does take a lot of strength to do what you had to do. And they recognize, but they also see how this card is like the beating up and giving yourself this constant, you're not giving yourself enough compassion about this situation. You need to be easier on yourself. That's going back to the soul solitude too. You need to give yourself some credit. Don't beat yourself up about that situation. That's what they're saying. So it doesn't matter what type of animal. And of course, I mean, I'm even, when I look at the lover's card, I'm even thinking of snakes because often the lover's card is represented as Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden and the snake. So if you had a snake, that's a wonderful pet too you loved. They loved you too. Even snakes. They say, oh, the scientists say they don't have the emotions. The soul has the emotion, and that carries that love, that spark of the divine. Okay? So I hope this helps in some way. I know it's so difficult, especially, you can't see them anymore physically. There's a lack of being able to. We know that. Know this. They are there. Even and especially when you're not paying attention. That's when they're there the most. You just don't know. So I tell everyone when it comes to the pets, because they tell this message, look for signs. Don't put signs where they shouldn't be. It's when you get something and you go and it's a sign from them that they're there. And it could be something that is like um, obvious. You might hear a collar jingling, tags, paw, feet on the floor. I used to hear that like that click, click on the hardwood. And sometimes you can smell them. Sometimes you can feel their presence on you. People that have snake, I'm seeing a snake, I'm seeing them wrapping themselves around your neck, coiling. Or the little birds, I see the birdies chewing on your earlobe. So when you feel those sensations, know they're real. When it makes you go, "Huh," then you know it is a real situation. So I'm going to leave this with you. I hope it provides you with some comfort. It's a blessing and an honor to be able to pass on any messages from any loved ones in spirit, especially our dear pets who couldn't physically speak to us in, on earth here, other than barking or meowing or making other noises. All right, I'm going to leave this with you and look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Take care for now. And remember, you've got to take some time for yourself to deal with this. Okay? Bye for now. Hi, pile number 3. If you chose pyrite or fool's gold, then this is your reading. One message, excuse me, from your beloved pet. All right, let us start with the tarot cards. All right, first card I pulled was the Seven of Wands in the reverse position. And then we have the Three of Wands as well in the reverse. And the Page of Pentacles outright. Okay. Now I'm just going to tune into these cards and see what we're getting. Your pet, what's coming through first is this, again, it's like they're seeing you as almost like you're given up, like you're not doing the things you used to do, you loved, and this could be a fresh loss of a pet, which is normal. There's going to be so much sadness around it. For most of you, for most of you in this reading, it could be a fresh one. In other words, you just kind of given up. You've stopped fighting the situation. Like in other words, if you've already lost your beloved pet, you've given up. There's a certain aspect of that. The Three of Wands, like you're always waiting for something to happen in your life now that they're gone. It's like, and I know it's not the same. Obviously, it's not the same, but there's this longing for them. It's constant. They want you to take a fresh start. They want you to move on, in other words. They don't want to see you sad, miserable. They know you had no choice. Usually it's most of the time in a euthanization situation. And but you're still hanging on, it's like you're waiting for them to come through the door. It's like you're waiting for them to be there with you in some way. And obviously, so that's fresh. Like to me, that's very much for those of you, the majority, that feel this right now, very soon after, which it's going to take time. There's no timeline for grieving. And the sad part is, I know a lot of people who aren't real pet owners don't understand the pain involved with losing a pet. And they seem to minimize it. It's like, I mean, it's horrible. I know myself personally, like I could hardly even work. I was just so devastated. And trust me, it will get better. So don't beat yourself up about that situation if you had to have your animal euthanized. It seems to come through in all the piles. That's a common theme. Okay. You will meet again, despite the fact that you're sitting there and you're looking and your whole world, it's like you're feeling that there's nothing left. That's it. There's no more quality in life. You have to let that go. They want you to let that go. They want you will. They're saying to you, please know that it's going to get better. Okay. So let me pull 3 more. We'll see what those are. We have the 7 swords, or even crow. Oof, love it. We have the 5 of pentacles. Okay. And reversed 10 of pentacles. Okay. Now it's making more sense. See, you put them all together. The common theme here. If you look, every single one of these cards, the person in the card's alone. Not only alone, but hidden away almost. There is this feeling of just, oh, well, we know what it's like when it's a new paint. new difficulty, new loss. That, oh, you know what? For some of you who've lost your pet, they're saying it feels like they just snuck away from you. You know what I mean? Like maybe they died in the night, maybe they died away from you and you didn't get to say goodbye. It's almost like it's like they just, you did not get to, some of you did not get to say goodbye. Okay. That just tells me that it's okay, even if it feels that way. They're with you because now they're passing on these messages. Look, they're seeing you so grief stricken and alone and in pain, and they don't want you to do that. They want you to go in, open the door and go in. In other words, engage in life. Okay. In fact, the message that's really coming through is you have even not even been spending time with other people, especially your family members. Like this is the extended family. You need to, they want to see you with the family. In fact, they will see you with the family. There's been this lack of engagement, and a lot of this is all around the pandemic as well, during that time where we were alone and you didn't get to take your pet with you if you were perhaps engaged with the family. Because a lot of times I know myself, especially if you have a dog or cat, or you would be with the family and you'd be together and you'd be engaged in socializing with the family. Like you can even see there's dogs here in this picture, two dogs. So they're kind of saying like, this is more about now. You're spending far too much time alone. I will be there with you when you're with the family, especially this year around the holidays, with any type of celebration, family event, weddings, anything, birthdays, they're going to be there. You may not feel them, but you know what? These animals here, oh, you know what, too? For some of you, you might have another pet at home that misses like there could have been the two, whether it was two dogs, a dog and a cat, or that type of situation, or two cats. The other pet you may still have with you. But this one recognizes that. And of course, this is those times when the other animal, you know how they do, they stare off into the corner, they do weird things, they start barking or whatever, hissing if they're a cat. They see your pet, they see your beloved pet. So your pet is telling you, that is me. Don't worry. I'm there with you. I'm going to be there with you. There hasn't been that for a while from the looks of things, whether you're too upset, because I feel like this is still fairly fresh, but there is going to be this time. So please, they're telling you, please turn this card around, get back out there, right? Be with the family. Don't isolate yourself with your pain. Okay. So let's see what the oracle has to say about this situation. Okay. Oh my gosh, right? You are not alone. And nature. Love that one. Okay. That's the best thing you can do. That's what they always talk about. You have to get out in nature. It's like you have to get back out with the creatures. And it may not just be out in nature, as in outside or with the birds and the trees and everything. This also means spend time with the other animal. The other animal needs you too, the other pet who's still here and is not in spirit. They still need you to care for them. So if you're somebody's been having difficulty and not at this time able to even look after yourself, never mind another pet, it's important you do that. That's what they're saying, because that will bring your connection back as well to realizing how lucky you were and how grateful you are for the time you had together while they were here, and that you're not alone. Obviously, you don't see that animals there. You can see in all these pictures, this poor person is so devastated, but They're right there holding you. Okay. So again, and I had this in the last pile, remember to pay attention to those times when you feel a nudge. Maybe you can smell them, you can hear something, you can see something. Don't attach too much to every sign. It may not necessarily be, but the obvious ones. Okay. When you go, that gasp of astonishment when you suddenly realize, oh, could that be them? Yeah, it could be. And especially when the other animal is aware. So don't this reading's theme seems to really reflect around aloneness, isolation, being lonely. And I get it. It's hard. Sometimes for some people who that was their only pet they had, and now they're completely alone. And it's like that was the only creature that understood me. Okay, that's what I'm getting. And it's like, I'll never have that again. That's what I know that's what you're thinking, and it's not true. Number one, for those that have another pet, you've got it there. They're not the same, but they love you too. And this other creature is definitely aware of them in spirit. So don't ignore the other things in your life. That's what your pet is telling you. Don't don't isolate yourself anymore. Don't do that. You need to have fun again. You need to get out there, enjoy life, okay? It's like you've given up. That's what I mean. And there's just this too much focus on it's a lack of focus for the future, is what it is. You're not paying attention to, like, you think there's nothing for you when in fact there really is. So they're saying, don't give up. Don't give up, please. It's going to take some adjustment. The Page of Pentacles tells us. Pay attention. You see how she's paying attention to the pentacle? Pay attention to life again. Pay attention to people around you. And for those of you who have had a loss of their pet, and it hasn't been fresh, it's been a while, you're still clinging to them. You're still holding on to the pain and the suffering, and they don't want that. They don't want you to be constantly like they're happy. And you're sitting there like this, and it's like, what the heck, Don't do this anymore. I'm with you. So every time you go out in nature, you'll be reminded when you go outside, especially in summer, even in the winter, there's birds and there's beautiful animals outside, and the breeze and the trees and all the things that we sometimes take so for granted. Pay attention to them. They will come to you as well through nature. So if you see a creature in nature, a bird or an animal that acts in a very unusual way, that's another sign for you that they are with you. Okay. I hope you are able to get something out of this, resonates for you, and know this, you aren't alone. Whether it's our pets or loved ones in spirit, once we cross over, they're always with us. Okay. It's only a remembrance, a thought away. And even when we don't think of them, they're still with you. That's why they're happy. They don't miss us. We do. So they're happy on the other side. They don't have any pain, fear, anguish. It's us who's carrying that burden. Okay. So I will leave this with you, and I hope you've enjoyed this pick a pile reading, and we'll see you in the next video. And it's been an honor to receive these messages from your beloved pet. Take care and bye for now.